In a small village on the border of Ukraine and Russia, Elena and Alexei's lives were about to collide in a way neither of them could have ever imagined. Elena, a Ukrainian woman from a proud family of soldiers, had always been taught to distrust the Russians. Alexei, a Russian man who had grown up in Moscow, found himself stationed in Ukraine as part of the ongoing conflict. The first time Elena met Alexei, it was on a cold winter evening. She had been working at the local market, trying to sell her handmade scarves and mittens to help support her family. The market was unusually quiet that day, and the looming threat of war weighed heavily on everyone's shoulders. As she bundled up her goods, she noticed a young soldier approaching her stall. He looked tired, his uniform worn and faded, but his eyes were soft. "Excuse me," Alexei said, his accent thick. "How much for this scarf?" Elena hesitated. She had heard rumors of soldiers from the opposing side causing trouble in her village, but something about Alexei's calm demeanor made her pause. 50 hryvnias, Elena replied quietly. Alexei reached for his wallet but then paused. "I'm sorry, I don't have much. Could I pay you in rubles?" Elena stared at him, her heart heavy with the weight of everything that had happened in the past few years. But instead of anger, she felt a strange compassion. "I'll take what you have," she said, her voice trembling slightly. It's okay." Alexei smiled gratefully, handing over a few rubles. As their hands touched briefly, Elena felt a connection that she couldn't explain. She had heard the stories about the Russian soldiers, how they were all the enemy. But Alexei's gentle nature made her question everything she had been taught. Over the next few weeks, Alexei returned to the market several times. Each time he purchased something small from Elena. They began to talk, first about the weather, then about their families, and eventually they shared their deepest fears. Elena told him about her father, who had died in the war, and how her mother had become bitter and fearful of anyone associated with Russia. Alexei spoke of his own struggle, the guilt he felt being away from his family, and the pain he carried from fighting in a war he didn't believe in. One day, after the market closed, Alexei asked Elena if she would walk with him. The snow crunched beneath their feet as they strolled along a quiet street. The tension between their countries thickened the air. They didn't speak of politics, but the silence between them said it all. There was a deep understanding, something unspoken, that brought them closer. "Maybe the world doesn't need more hatred," Elena said softly. "Maybe we just need to see each other for who we really are." As their bond deepened, so did the opposition from their families. Elena's mother, Maria, was outraged when she found out about the relationship. "How could you?" she cried, shaking her head. "You're falling in love with the enemy. The same enemy who has taken our brothers, our homes, and our peace." Alexei's family, too, was furious. His father, a decorated officer in the Russian army, warned him against pursuing a Ukrainian woman. "You are dishonoring our family," he said sternly. "We've spent generations building our nation, and you want to throw it all away for a Ukrainian girl?" But Elena and Alexei couldn't ignore the love that had grown between them. Their hearts didn't see borders or flags, they only saw each other. As the war raged on, both families pushed them to choose sides. Elena's family wanted her to stay away from Alexei, while Alexei's family demanded that he return to Russia. But neither could walk away from what they had found in each other. One fateful night, as bombs exploded in the distance and air raid sirens echoed in the streets, Alexei made a decision that would change everything. He went to Elena's house and knocked on the door. "Elena, we have to leave. The war is tearing us apart. I want to be with you. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, we can find peace together." Elena hesitated. She knew leaving would mean abandoning everything she had ever known, but she also knew that being with Alexei was the only way to heal her broken heart. With a deep breath, she nodded. "Let's go. Together." They left under the cover of darkness, crossing borders, fleeing to countries that weren't torn apart by war. It wasn't easy, but their love kept them going. Through every hardship, they reminded each other of the promise they had made, to fight for each other, no matter the obstacles. As they found a small town where they could start over, they began to rebuild their lives. It was hard at first, as they faced the constant judgment of others. But Elena and Alexei's love became a symbol of what was possible when people looked beyond the hatred and pain that war had caused. They started a nonprofit organization, helping families separated by conflict, encouraging them to reach out, to see the humanity in each other. They traveled to Ukraine and Russia, speaking about the importance of reconciliation, unity, and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. Years passed, and Elena and Alexei's story became a beacon of hope. It wasn't just the love they shared that inspired others, but the strength it took to overcome everything: fear, prejudice, and war, to choose love above all else. Their union proved that peace could begin with the smallest of actions. Two people, from opposite sides, choosing to love each other despite the world telling them it was impossible. And in doing so, they sparked a movement, reminding everyone that love has the power to heal even the deepest divides.